can't see. Hello there, General Kenobi. Oops, awesome. So big. Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to TCS Sports. Hopefully, you like that small little intro that we had there. Because as you know, today is May 4th, as in May the 4th be with you. Happy Star Wars Day. Is this shirt they broke back? Okay.
Does make you look like a Kardashian, though.
Jesus.
Not the ones on TV, though.
Oh. Alright, so for today we're going to go over a few things. We're going to try to keep it a little bit Star Wars related. Starting off with Star Wars meets sports. As of today, we have the Pirates game. Every year on May 4th, they traditionally go and hand out like Star Wars merchandise, like pirate Star Wars merchandise. I have a few bobbleheads myself of instead of baseball players holding bats, they're holding lightsabers. So May the 4th be with you too, Amber. So I am going to pull up here real quick. Camera's going to go away.
Sure you don't want to change the password? Just impress him first.
So we have Pirate's Parrot with Darth Vader.
Timu, Leia, Luke.
Timu, Leia, and Luke. Doing the first pitch. And then we got Stormtroopers.
A couple of jabroni stormtroopers.
Marching out onto the
field.
They about to get fucked on because they don't got their blasters, but
it's all good.
Gonna hit you over there anyhow.
Yeah.
But just oddly enough, the Pirates did lose on the 4th of May 4-0 to the Padres. So
Ironically enough,
right,
4-0. There's not really much fantastic going on with baseball right now.
Unless you're a fan and messed up. Or feel like doing gymnastics while you're at the Pirates game.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't know,
and you yell Geronimo, you're gonna fall from the stands.
Amber said they would miss anyways. Facts. But yes, if you don't know, the other day, there was a Pirates fan who, I'm assuming he was a Pirates fan. He fell off the stadium right here, right where my mouse is.
Yeah, right.
So
behind.
Got a few videos. Let's start with this one.
The van who fell from the stands at a Cubs-Pirates baseball game is a former college football player. 20-year-old Kevon Mark Wood is still in the hospital in critical condition right now. He fell 21 feet from the bleachers at Wednesday night's game in Pittsburgh. Walsh University in Ohio told ABC they are deeply saddened by the accident. Mark Wood also...
Like he was not clothed.
No, he didn't have a shirt on.
Oh.
So before we started the stream, we were going over this, and we kind of pointed out something, And if you look right here, Amber, you can see Chelsea. But yeah, we actually had a friend, his fiance, who works there. She witnessed it herself, and she said that it was horrible. So, what didn't she end up having to like fill incident reports out and everything?
She said since there was one that was near, she had felt reports.
Yeah. So, that video that I am showing you now is actually older. He's no longer in critical condition. He's doing better at the hospital now. Thank God. And best of wishes to his family, and hope a easy, fast recovery. Hopefully everything goes well. It's just a little unfortunate. And it was right whenever it was just like a huge play going on. I think they hit a home run and he got excited and jumped up, and momentum took him forward and he fell right over. But here's another
This
video.
morning, baseball fans left in shock after a man fell from the bleachers at Pittsburgh's PNC Park, landing on the field during the Pirates game.
When you look at it like in slow-mo, he just looked like he was like jolting up because it was a huge play.
Bobby Ketter shot this video showing a fan dropping about 20 feet. He says at first he had no idea he had captured the fall.
Next thing you know, the girl behind me was like, "Hey, did you record that?" And my dad's next to me. He's like, "Look at the stretchers in the outfield."
Players were seen frantically trying to alert umpires and security as the man lay on the warning track.
The fact of how it went down and then, laying motionless while the play's going on, it's extremely unfortunate. I mean, that's an understatement.
The game was paused for about 10 minutes. Players taking a knee as medical personnel loaded the man onto a cart and rushed him to the hospital.
Obviously a very, scary moment, and just you kind of see like everybody's taking a knee and just praying and hoping everything's okay.
The Pirates reacting to last night's incident, saying their thoughts and prayers are with him and his family.
That's all they could afford.
This morning, baseball.
Jesus, they couldn't even get him an ambulance. So we got taken to on that little John Deere tractor. Yep. Tractor. Utility vehicle.
So afterwards, I found out that there was somebody who hopped down from here, I believe, jumped down because nobody noticed that he fell other than the people that were out here and the guys in the dugout. So he hopped down and immediately attended to him because he was like bleeding and shit like that. So, and that actually, he ended up staying with him the whole time. He followed him off the field and stayed with him, and then the family and friends that he was with up here ended up meeting them. So, but yeah.
Sure. It's like, you don't really have anything. I see this parrot just, what's up?
What the? Oh no. He's trying to force choke.
Oh no, that dude in the back over there is mean mugging him.
This guy here?
No, the one in the blue.
Oh shit. Fuck you.
That's probably, must be real.
Oh, it was his friend that jumped.
Kid in the back.
So Lady Sage actually hopped into our chat and said that it was his friend that jumped down to help. Okay, yeah, I thought it was from like somebody from here, but no. A little bit of false information on my part, sorry, but so damn. He jumped all the way down there just
They ran down and then jumped from a yellow.
I mean, yeah.
Which would make more sense. Right. If you're in that much of a rush, then I mean, if there's.
Yeah, there's no stairs on this side.
Yeah, there's. I think there's a little road. Maybe.
I thought there wasn't.
I don't fucking remember.
I don't know. Hey Chelsea, is there stairs over here? This is normally where you're at, so.
Still dig the camera guy in the background.
That's for the night.
Yeah. Sorry, this is my search for Pirates Star Wars jersey.
The real question for Pirates fans: who's your favorite pierogi?
Who's your favorite pierogi?
Personally, jalapeno Hannah.
Cheddar. But yeah, other than that, there's not really much going on in baseball. What was that thing that you had pulled up?
Bring it back up. Oh,
I forget it was like the Twins and
the O's and the Royals and the O's. The two teams combined for 11 home runs, a franchise record 7 for Kansas City. Oh, fucking phone.
okay, so Chelsea said the guy is now talking, but is still in critical condition. Okay, and yes, that's half of 142 stairs. That's where you go to get to seats 1 and 10. Look at you knowing your stuff.
His own help efforts. Oh.
So, I mean, I don't know if you know if he ran down the stairs and jumped here, or if he just said YOLO and jumped over the railing himself.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks and Phillies played, and that combined them two made 20 runs,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Tigers, Angels, 114.
Who was the two teams?
And the Royals and the O's had a combined of 11 solo home runs.
That's
And
crazy.
they broke a record doing that.
They tied a record
Tied a record.
for most solo home runs in a game. So they were one or two away from making an official breaking record.
To answer your question, Amber said Cheese Chester for the win. I actually have a video whenever we went to the game.
Off in the race.
Yeah.
There it is. I guess one other thing we can touch up is
She said, look, it was a crazy night. Understandable. We just wanted to touch base and say prayers to the family and happy thoughts. Hope everything goes well with an easy, fast recovery. But
yeah, he was definitely not one with the force that day.
The force is what took him down. We're fucked up. We're so sorry. There's gonna be a lot of Star Wars jokes.
We want to love this as children.
We're not loved now.
But we're going to move on from baseball over to hockey. Right now, they are in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Playoff hockey.
As of right now, mostly every game has been finished. Tonight, Winnipeg and St. Louis are playing right now. I'll click on there to see
It's
how they're
2-1.
doing.
It's 3-1 now.
Never mind, straight one.
3-1 at the end of the second.
3-1 at the end of the second.
Yeah. Why am I even looking at my phone?
So, round one against Dallas in Colorado. Dallas ended up taking it in the seventh game with Rantanen sealing it with a hat trick empty netter. Ironically enough, it was against his old team. He was traded to Dallas the beginning of the year, somewhere close to the beginning of the year. Following that, the Vegas Golden Knights, they ended up sealing the deal against Minnesota. Unfortunately, I was hoping to see Minnesota go a little bit further due to this being Fleury's last season.
Right.
He is officially retired.
Yep.
So I wanted to see him hopefully bring one back for himself, just out of respect of him being our old goalie.
Right. Right.
I followed him everywhere he's gone, to the Knights, Minnesota. He was on the Detroit Red Wings. No, it was the Blackhawks. Yeah, it was the Blackhawks for a year or something. But
The Hawks.
the Hawks.
Yeah, but super, super, super cool dude.
He's super player. He is.
Good guy. Great goaltender. Thank you, Flower. Thank you so much.
I think you were definitely one of the goalies that did change the league, coming up through the generations. Inspired a lot of players, goalies.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Definitely one of them generational goalies you only see once in blue moon.
Right?
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, you've been missed since day one, since you left, and we wish we could have at least one more game with you, but it was a hell of a
one more
run.
game in a Pens uniform. That would have been really nice.
I wonder if I can pull up Minnesota and see their players, and then see his stats, or I can just come up here, like. Why are you?
Yeah, the Penguins posted this.
Congrats, Mark Andre Fleury.
And it's like, thanks for.
Penguins, what a ride. Flower, congratulations to Marc Andre Fleury on a phenomenal NHL career. We've been privileged to be a part of it. So it has a picture of him hoisting the Stanley Cup, him in a Vegas Knights jersey, a Blackhawks jersey.
Over Instagram and just pull it over
Oh, yeah.
there. I just sent to a group chat.
I don't have Messenger on.
No, the Instagram one.
I don't have Instagram on me.
This
That's me signing up.
motherfucker.
Send it to Discord.
Alright. We'll do this whole screenshot and I just toss that in general.
There's another Mark Andre. There he is. is this?
I forgot to
That's funny. That is good.
Oh my god.
That is really, really good. That's fantastic.
I see that earlier and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this.
All right. So, got him hoisting 2 Stanley Cups in 3 different Pens jerseys, Golden Knights jersey, Hawks jersey, and the Minnesota Wild jersey where he finished out his career. Once again, like they posted, what a ride. It's been a privilege to be a part of it. I enjoyed seeing you demolish the ice. Would love to see you do it again. Read off some of your stats for your career playoffs. You've had 170 games played, 92 wins, 16 shutouts, with a 2.56 goals against average and a .911 save average or save percentage. So, where's his overall stats?
What is it? He's in the running for the Masterton Trophy this year, which is nice.
Okay, I have no idea what's going on upstairs.
I do.
Oh, career. There they are. Jesus.
69.
What?
It was all the way at the end.
Oh. 60669. Okay, so I'm assuming these are games played.
Yeah.
Games played.
Scores.
Game started.
Game started. Wins, losses, ties, overtime. And then goals against, save percentage, shutout.
Goals, assists, penalty minutes.
Yeah. Damn, 10 penalty minutes.
Look at the year. Do you see the year?
Yeah. Okay, so 1,051 games, and then this was game started, 1,017, and then this is wins, losses, 575 wins, 339 losses. I believe this is ties. Yeah, ties. He has 2 ties.
I think it's overtime.
Yeah, 95 overtime wins, or is that no overtime appearances? I think that's OT wins.
So
Shots,
overtime loss.
overtime losses. It's a total of 95 overtime losses. Shots against, there's going to be a lot of numbers. Goals against average, he was pretty consistent, ranging anywhere between 2.5 to, I think highest was 3.02,
3.64.
3.64, 3.25. His average overall is 2.6. And then save percentage is 0.912. And this is shutouts. He has a total of 76 shutouts. And then has 22 assists, 86 penalty minutes, and this is time played on the ice. Time on ice. So he has a lot of time.
So yeah, this is what it's been over 20-some years.
Yeah.
21 years.
First season, rookie season, 2003 to 2004, to retire in the 2024-25 season. Once again, hell of a run. Will be missed. You are one of the GOATs.
Don't talk like he's dead. He just retired. He's on.
I'm not talking like he's dead. I mean, I talk the same way about Ovechkin. I mean, if he was to retire, he's a GOAT.
That's just going to drink vodka in the woods and probably fight a bear. Florida's going to a beach. Well, more likely having a casino.
Moving on from the Vegas and Minnesota matchup, we got the LA Kings and Edmonton Oilers. They took that 4-2, bringing that to in round 2, Vegas versus Edmonton. Moving over to the Eastern, we got Carolina that took it 4-1 against the New Jersey Devils. Washington over
4 games to 1 over Montreal. So now that leaves the second round where Washington will face Carolina.
Then we got Toronto making it to the second round.
Toronto
against Florida, who beat Tampa.
That's crazy. Toronto and Ottawa faced off against each other first round in Florida and Tampa. They didn't have to travel far.
No.
Those logistics were pretty simplistic.
Oh yeah.
Save a lot of travel costs. That's real.
So Toronto and Florida facing off. First game. Looking at tomorrow.
Monday
at 8
Monday.
So
I don't see Toronto making it past round 2.
Really?
Yeah, they never did. At least from what since I've been actually paying attention to hockey like the past couple of years, I haven't really seen them make it past round 2.
So their year.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
Hopefully.
On YouTube, we're going to watch Steve Dangle. He is.
Who's on the west side? Is a topper. What is it? Oh yeah, St. Louis, Winnipeg.
That's going to be St. Louis winning that one. It's going to be St. Louis versus Dallas, unless Winnipeg somehow pulls it out their ass.
I think the Blues are going to seal it here and go up against Dallas, but I don't think they're going to go any further once they face off against Dallas.
You're wanting to see Dallas go all the way again, aren't you?
I mean, they have a good playoff team. Like, in the regular season, they're hit or miss. They still somehow find a way to make it in to the playoffs. I mean,
don't they lose it in the conference normally?
Yeah, they normally lose it in the conference. They have they always battle it out. This is kind of a rematch from last year, and they went all the way. So hopefully they do make it again all the way. They perform phenomenally whenever it comes to being in the playoffs with all that stress and pressure. These are a top-tier playoff team. So we have a few top-tier playoff teams. We have Dallas, Florida, and then Edmonton. So very, very strong contenders here. It can honestly go any way, really. I mean, sure. Between these two, it's going to be a tough decision. I'm pretty solid on whoever wins this game to go up against Dallas. Either team is going to lose. I think Florida is going to win against Toronto. It's always just been Toronto's fate, but I am hopeful. I would love to see them beat out Florida and make it to the conference final. And then when it comes to Washington versus Carolina, I mean, Washington, they have Obi, who's already having a record year. So, well, not like a record year, but a record-breaking year. You know, being the top goal scorer in NHL history. So hopefully, I mean, it would be nice for him to go all the way and bring
Sure.
the cup home in the same year. Like that would be a phenomenal year.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to do it.
So,
Right.
Washington.
I'm not putting money on it, but
Yeah. Washington against whoever, and then Dallas against whoever. That's who I got going.
What's your ideal Stanley Cup final?
Ideal Stanley Cup final.
no, but
Doesn't have to be realistic. Just
Ideal.
just what's here.
Dallas and Washington.
Dallas, Washington.
Yeah.
Vegas, Florida.
Vegas and Florida.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to see Dallas and Toronto, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's not gonna ever happen.
I'm hopeful. I mean, I'd love to see Toronto facing Washington in the conference final.
I think Matthews deserves at least one cup.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of fans are fucking chanting against Toronto, saying Marner's leaving. Marner's leaving.
That's right. Mitch is on. Right, that's interesting. Mitch Marner.
Yeah, Mitch Marner. I'm proud of you.
I know. I'm slowly remembering. Well, learning.
Yeah. Who do you think? You want Toronto and
Yeah, Toronto, Dallas would be mine, but anything that happened, who I could see it being could be Edmonton and Florida, or Edmonton and Washington.
yeah. But that pretty much covers up everything that we got going on with the NHL. Not too much really going on. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs. The only thing that really piqued my interest was Mikko Rantanen, who got traded from Colorado, to the Canes, then to Dallas. Ended up sealing the deal with a hat trick empty netter. So that's kind of a big fuck you. Like,
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Pretty much now we're going to switch it over to the NFL and how the draft went. So I'm going to switch this back over.
Put the ball in your bag.
We still back.
Put the ball.
Football.
Put the ball. Football. NFL. There you go, buddy.
So pretty much what we're going to go over is how the first round went, how we feel the teams are going to benefit with the picks that they got, and kind of see how the team will be, whether they're going to be better off or if they didn't really benefit much, if it was a smart pick or a bad pick, and then honestly see if, you know, like, is Cam Ward going to be a bust, you know, like
Right.
kind of ordeal. So overall thoughts on the draft. Sage was not here with us while watching the draft. It was me, Pork, and Connor. But he does know what happened. He was keeping touch with what we've posted in the Discord. So how was your overall thought on the draft?
It was crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody expected that the Browns would trade.
Right off the bat.
You know, right off the bat. I think it was pretty well known that the Titans were going to go after Cam Ward.
Yeah.
By everybody and anybody.
I mean, he was
obviously,
projected first overall pick, and with the Titans being first overall pick, they'd be stupid not to
snag him.
Yeah.
Obviously, but I mean, but that being said, the Browns are the Browns. They did everything that they did for that draft. They traded down. They picked up Mason Graham, and then they, had a whole bunch of more picks that almost seemed as if they were going to try and start to head in the right direction. And instead, they got 9 different quarterbacks.
Yeah, they
in their
ended up
quarterback
picking
room.
up,
wasn't Abe Pickett on the Browns now?
yeah. So they have Flacco, Pickens.
Pickens, not Pickens.
Yeah, Flacco, Pickens. They have Deshaun Watson. I mean, he's still on the roster. As we're talking, the guy that the quarterback that they picked was like the 3rd or 4th round, and they went down and whatever it was, they got Shador Sanders.
Yeah.
It's it's like I said, they got 6, 7, 8 freaking. They probably grabbed Bobby Boucher, who they put him in quarterback. I mean, they just went like nuts, and would started to look as if the Browns were going to be. I mean, they seem to be going in a smart direction initially. I don't know where the hell they're going now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why pick up 2 rookie quarterbacks?
Oh, Carson Schwarzenegger, the linebacker. I was like, oh, okay. Then they went with a running back, Judkins from Ohio State.
Yeah.
Judkins is good.
And then they got a tight end. And then they got Dylan Gabriel, quarterback from Oregon. Another running back, another quarterback. It's just, that it was a surprise. I know it really wasn't a surprise. They're the Browns are the Browns are the Browns.
Yeah.
Every year, I'm sure Cleveland fans are probably sitting there crossing their fingers going, please let this be a better year. Please let this be a better year. And then all of a sudden it's...
I mean, we can't say shit.
Sounds a lot like, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I don't think they did horribly this year.
They didn't do horribly
with their picks. I think I believe that their first round pick was probably a fairly smart pick. And I'm sorry to say, I think it was exceptionally smart for nobody to go after Shador Sanders.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, okay, went to the Browns. Sorry. Take care now. Bye-bye then. But on top of that, they go and get what a lot of experts thought would probably be the better of the multiple quarterbacks in this draft is the kid from Ohio State.
Yeah. What's his name?
But with the
yeah.
Will Howard.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I knew it was Will something, but I don't want to misspoke. Okie Pinokie.
I mean, me and Sage were talking about this yesterday, and he's just like, hopefully he's not cocky. He's not
another Kenny.
He's not another Kenny.
It didn't seem like it. It seemed like he was.
He has more ambition than.
Yeah, it seemed like he was. He was generally, excited and amped to come and play for the Steelers and try and kind of be that guy. Even if he doesn't initially right away be that guy. Even if they make Mason, the starter for the first game or whatever. However that works out, he's just ready to come in and
yeah.
Yeah, watching him play, honestly, watching a small handful of clips of him play in college reminded me just a smidgen of Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Just his composure and his ability to find guys when it almost looks like there's no guys there and accurately put it somewhere for those receivers to get to instead of just throwing it up and go, oh, DK's there somewhere.
Fucking DK down there somewhere.
So, I mean, that's I think that's a positive. I don't know anything about the running back that they picked up, other than he's a big, strong running back, and
yeah,
that's fine. That's fine if you want to go that route. I don't know what their thought process is going to be for offense this year, really.
I mean, I think the Steelers benefited well in the draft, defense and offensively, filling a running back, quarterback, and then just stacking up the wall.
Getting another nose tackle and getting a edge rusher, and I don't necessarily know if they really needed any more. Like, I mean, they could use linebacking help, but you know, I thought what they already had on the roster seemed to be adequate enough that they started to implement those guys. If they start putting in, if they use a little bit more of Herbig and Watt, together, I don't know, maybe the Sorter guy, may provide a little bit of something on an edge too. Maybe they're worried because I don't know. I enjoyed watching watching Highsmith and what he does on defense. Maybe they're looking for a little bit of toughness and speed.
Yeah.
To get to the quarterback. Maybe I'm just assuming they're thinking that pressuring the quarterback is going to, and it does help. And what?
I have no idea. Jesus. Sorry. We're in Discord right now looking at whatever Tony fucking sent in there.
Wait.
Okay. So I'm going to switch this over real quick to our screen. I'm going to turn the camera off real quick, and then we're going to come back over here. Just want to show this.
Time, hands up in the face. 6 yards. For Pittsburgh.
I think my sound is.
You just made a few people deaf.
Yeah.
Give them.
Jack Sawyer, the hero, Captain Jack.
That's right.
It is the show. Fitzpatrick. Conley takes exception to it.
So that's how our defense is going to be looking this year, and it looks scary.
I still am of the belief that they could have possibly gone after a top tier corner. I think that's what they're missing. I haven't last year. I don't know if it was like they always say the sophomore jinx. I didn't really think that JPJ had it looked like he had a sophomore jinx. He didn't have that great of a season. He looked kind of out of place. Penalties.
Yeah.
And when you start to lose confidence like that and things happen, it makes everything else that tough. But when you have a shutdown corner, a lockdown corner, and the type of defense that they run, it allows not only that you have your rushers to pressure a quarterback, but that also allows for, at the very least, one receiver unavailable.
Yeah.
Which makes the options limited. And there's too many teams that had way too many options available last year. And if you take away the options and you include, Watt and all those guys that are approaching the quarterback. Even a Hurry, even QB Hurry speaks volumes from time to time.
Yeah.
So, but it wasn't who they picked up wasn't bad, wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh my god, they picked that guy. We didn't have any of those this year.
No,
I don't think.
I mean, Derek Herman, Jack Sawyer, Will Howard. Those are the top three for me that they picked.
Right.
Two of which are from Ohio State.
Right.
So that's a bonus for me. It's also a bonus for him.
Right.
Because we go
I
Buckeyes.
still want us to get the one Buckeye that's been in the NFL for a while. I need Chase.
Yeah, sorry. I don't think we're gonna get Young.
We're never gonna get Chase Young, but I want.
Who else did pretty well? I'm kind of
The Giants.
Giants did pretty darn well. They did. They went fairly smart, I'd have to say. You're right. Not only with it wasn't like they made a big splash in the off season, but their picks seemed to. They sat there and said, you know what, we got to stop messing around.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to be the Browns.
Yeah.
And went and picked up some. Abdul Carter and in the first round, and Jackson Dart, and
they had 2 picks in the first round.
That's what I mean. So they were like, we're not messing around. We gotta. They don't want to be the freaking Browns and stuff like that. But Jackson Dart, defensive tackle from Toledo, Cam Scatabo they picked up.
Yeah. That's a top tier running back as well.
Yeah.
Just like Hen said last stream, he's in here right now. He said, "Hey y'all, hopefully the Giants don't do another sick one." Like,
well, you know what? They also picked up that guard. I just had him up too. That's looked as if he may be inserted into that lineup for the Giants, and actually, because that's what they were. I know that Giants did, Saquon wrong, but they also did him wrong in the sense that they didn't allow, to try and maintain an offense that was going to let him do what he does. And that's what he had in Philadelphia. He was, he's talented. He's a great running back, but he showed that he's exceptional when you put a pretty fair offensive line together.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the Eagles, for God's sake. So
check out your screen. Let me pull it up.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, the Raiders picking up Ashton Jensen. Jaguars going after Travis Hunter in the first round.
He went and gifted a tier 1 sub. Gifted a tier 1 sub to Lady Sage. And they've gifted a total of 2 in the channel. There you go.
Yeah, I don't. There were quite a few analysts from different sports networks that.
Fucking, he's streaming us right now.
Oh, hey, man.
Hell yeah.
But there were some, different network experts that kind of downgraded the fact that McMillan went to the Panthers. Which is kind of I thought that was kind of interesting. The Colts going after the tight end Tyler Warren, I thought was exceptionally smart on their end as well. And what I said, I believe that's what I said during the draft when we were here before, was it really was a surprise that the Ravens went after Malachi Starks, a safety. It seems like it's something that, Ravens would go ahead and do to in the first round is, go after a player like Malachi Starks. So, I mean, like I said, with the Browns did, I thought, was initially I thought, oh, they're going to be they're going to do things well, I mean, they went and traded. I guess they weren't too concerned about having that spot, and they were like, well, we'll just drop down and we'll go ahead and go after Mason Graham, and you're like, we could have done that, with the second pick, but Browns are the Browns.
Yeah. Tony said, all right, yeah, go ahead and enjoy your other stream, buddy. Totally haven't missed talking to you guys. Sorry, we kind of planned this, like 2 weeks ago?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, it was talked about. Didn't. Yeah, it was sort of talked about. Some experts also think the Seattle Seahawks did well in the draft. I'm just looking at some draft grades that were given. The Seahawks were given A. The Patriots were given an A minus. The Browns were given an A. The Giants were given an A minus as a grade for their complete drafts.
So
the draft process.
B minus, I believe I just seen.
Who's that?
Steelers. B minus.
I'm trying to get there.
Okay.
The Ravens were B plus. I'm trying to find the Steelers. At some point, I'll blurt that out. I don't think any team did horribly. Obviously, being that the Titans go after, they needed that.
Yeah.
The Titans needed that. Just hope that, and I was saying this before. I know that the quarterback for the Commanders. What the heck is his name? I'm drawing a blank.
Jalen. Right? No. Jane Daniels.
Yeah. Whatever his name is.
Jane Daniels.
Anyway, my point being is he going to kind of suffer like the sophomore jinx?
Yeah.
Sort of the same way that, the year before there was a lot of hype about CJ Stroud and what he accomplished with the Texans. And then last year, just, again, sophomore jinx hit the bottom. I wonder if Commander's quarterback is going to follow suit, or, is he going to? Because they basically, they've improved. The Commanders did.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the sophomore curse, he might have a fair chance of dealing with it. But yeah, like you said, I mean, he had a phenomenal year this year, just like Stroud did, and then, fell off the next year. But, I mean, even if that's the case, there's another year to come, and another year to go after that. I mean, he has a full career ahead of him. He definitely went out there and performed and made it pretty far, too.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and he did pretty well, so did CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Now, so that's the question, which of the quarterbacks, taken this year, should they start? Do you see any kind of optimistic approach for them having the year that, Jaden had? Is Cam Ward going to have that kind of year being with the Titans? I find it, I struggle to say yes to that. Does as we sit here, do you guys think that there's still that possibility that Cedar sign Aaron Rodgers if he's still wanting to sign?
God, it don't happen. I pray to God, Aaron Rodgers just says, "All right, fuck it, I'm retiring. I'm staying on the beach I'm on."
Go ahead, say it.
Fuck him. Fuck Aaron Rodgers.
That's right. Mother had him, mother fed him, mother fucked him.
Honestly,
Oh man.
we brought this up to a point the last few times that we've talked about Aaron Rodgers is, I personally think if he was to come here, I would only sign him for 1 year and hope to God that he might, be able to mentor and lead. I mean, he did an okay job with Love.
Well, kind of, sort of, but also he still did kind of not too shabby with, let's say, a freaking Jets team. Is he really truly trying to follow like the Brett Favre path of trying to end up with Minnesota?
That probably is because he's really trying to get with Minnesota. But Minnesota's already told him now.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, he put up numbers with the Jets. Either way, if he comes here, he's gonna show up. He's gonna play. He's gonna put up the numbers, especially with having the offense that we have.
Sure.
So, but would it be the best case scenario? I don't know. I mean,
Right.
We've also mentioned that Kirk Cousins, Kirk Cochain, he might have a chance of coming here too. Hi, Milo.
Oh, there's my pussy. Yeah.
Hi, buddy. Come to join the podcast. But yeah, there's also an option for Kirk Cousins, and I mean, either which way you look at it, there's going to be numbers. But do we feel like Kirk would be a better mentor than Rodgers? Do you think that Kirk would have a longer contract than Rodgers would due to age?
Right.
I mean, it's all up in the air.
Sure.
I said either or would work, but I mean, for all you know, we might not even pick up another.
Why not? They may be very, very comfortable with drafting Will Howard. They might very well be, and that's what they're. Obviously they know they're going to know more than we do. Obviously,
yeah.
But I was just curious because since the draft, I haven't seen or heard much of any more talk about Cousins or Rodgers or anything that related. I'm sure they're probably, as it always is, they'll go through the summer with the Pirates. And once that kitty, once that starts to dwindle down, which will probably be by June 11th, when the Pirates hit the basement like they normally do, then there'll be Steelers talk, because there's Penguins versus no Penguins talk.
It's pretty much just,
unless you want to talk about, we can talk about flag football if you like. That's fun too.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, Cousins had a no trade clause up to the draft.
Yes.
So I was expecting to hear something about him. I mean, I can always just go and try to pull something up real quick to see what's going on with him.
I haven't heard of
And
anything about that.
probably a stupid question, but do we see Jalen Warren as our starting running back this year? Do you think someone's finally going to just give that guy an opportunity to headman the running back room?
I mean, he seemed. I mean,
how can you not?
Right.
I mean, the guy does it all almost. Sorry, I read the things.
Lady Sage said they already hit the basement.
And that's referring to the Pirates. That's funny. That guy almost hit the basement too when he came out of state.
I don't know. Jalen Warren, he definitely showed up last year. I definitely felt like he should have been a starter over No-Go Harris.
No go found himself in problems, he got injured and came back from an injury, and he was never himself. He looked pretty promising, before his injury. After his injury, and it happens. People get a little tentative and hesitant on that's iffy. What's iffy? Anyway, he looked a little, hesitant of being himself and getting hit and getting tackled. And last year he looked a little more like he was feeling a bit more comfortable, but it was almost like a little bit too late.
Yeah,
It was like a little bit too late to the party, and by that time, Jalen was all. I mean, he catches out of the backfield, he blocks when he needs to block, and the dude just he just hits the hole. He just goes forward when he gets the ball. He just goes forward. He may get a yard and a half. He may get 15 and a half yards. No matter what, he just keeps going forward. He's never negative.
yeah,
So that's if well, whatever. I mean,
yeah. It is iffy. I mean, but
because they haven't given it to him yet, and that's why I'm curious as to who they're going to give it to. A rookie? Are they going to give it to the rookie they just drafted? Or are they going to give it to what's his face, Cordarrelle Patterson, for God's sakes?
I mean, we've seen how Warren performs.
I got no issue
against any or NFL defenses compared to the rookie we just picked up, seeing it against college teams.
Right
now, like the level of skill difference between NFL and college, it varies a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to say that a rookie's going to get the starting position over someone who has tenure.
Sure. So it has happened.
It has
happened. I mean, that obviously they'll have to go through camp and preseason and everything like that and see.
Yeah, we won't know until after preseason.
Sure, yeah, but I the way things have transpired, I mean, it's a lot of people out there thought that he should, like the Steelers really shouldn't have been too much of a, two-back system the way that they were, and continuously gave it to Harris, and he just had like small spurts of good yardage. Where to me, watching Warren, like I said, it was always in a positive. He never got drawn back. He never got much of a negative. It was always positive.
Well, ladies said that he deserves it.
He deserves a chance. He deserves that opportunity to prove that he can carry that running back core for sure. But I'm just curious because they really haven't seemed like they were trying to give him a strong opportunity. Usually seeing him because he does a great job blocking in the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed like that's what they were trying to use him for mostly. To me, was we're going to need can't let Harris block. He'll get knocked back 25 yards.
Well, how do you think our team is faring offensively after
They would have fared very well had not been for the multiple amounts of penalties committed by the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
That really hurt us a lot more, I think, than a guy who used to know how to run with the ball and now doesn't know how to run with the ball. And we all know who that was because he's not on the team no more. And that was Russell Wilson.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
And that's crazy because last year, we were a little bit on the strong positive side. Oh, we got Fields, we got Russ Wilson. Looks like they're going to go in a direction that might improve the offense. Oh, look, we picked up a couple offensive linemen. They're going to secure that offensive line pretty well. And yet, what's his face got injured, and they had to move some guys around. But when you have an offensive line, particularly like I said, one guy that commits a heck of a lot of penalties for a lot of yardage. Did you just yawn?
I'm sorry. It's like 30 minutes past my bedtime.
Man, that's a technical foul. But if they can eliminate that a little bit and And you include DK and you have Pickens and a few more strong offensive players. Then I think if they make things simple, they just got to make things simple, not try and find a way to make it complex. You can't have a 3rd and 1 and try and throw a 25-yard bomb.
Right.
You got to be a little bit more smart than that. So they were doing a lot of those things, and then, like I said, penalties are always hurtful.
Well, I mean, we went to the training camp before last season.
Yes.
And we said this year we're not going. We think it's just bad juju. If we go,
yeah.
Get any further.
Right.
And that we're still just going to be a wild card team. But whenever me and Pork and Bud went, honestly, it's became like tradition afterwards. We stop at like Chick-fil-A and then we talk about how we think the team.
How that thing's going to go, right? And we were very, very much optimistic with last year's team, and it just seemed to kind of go into a lot of weird disarray. It really even defensively, the things just did not mesh. There was no clicking. Okay.
Lady said, "Yep, you're right. Needs less penalties."
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think they need a little more discipline whenever it comes to doing it the right way. I understand, sometimes your hand will get stuck in a jersey and they'll call you for holding. It is what it is. But lock up the right way, hold them. If you can't hold them, just fucking fall. They'll stumble, they'll try to fight over you, and it still gives our quarterback that time that he needs to either decide to scramble or yeet that bitch.
Yeah, so, there's so many things that they could have done to help with lessening the amount of penalties. I don't know if it's maybe possibly they didn't have anybody that can they can insert into the lineup that might help with that, or have routes go differently so they could make a quicker throw instead of the 25-yard bombs all the time. And there's so many things, and it just seemed kind of in disarray last year on both sides of the ball. And they need some guys that are just gonna, particularly on defense, they just need some guys that are gonna freaking clothesline them motherfuckers. They need someone that's gonna be nasty like Joey Porter used to be. Those guys, Porter and Harrison, those guys were just freaking nasty, and they brought it. And it's also difficult when you have a guy giving like 1,005% effort like TJ Watt does, and he gets held or there's something happens quite often and nothing gets called. I know not everything's going to get called, but it does make it difficult when you see that.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly when no one else is going to try and respond. You know what I mean? No one else is going to sit there and so I'm going to go up and I'm going to go smack a person in his helmet. It sure penalize me, but let's start doing things fairly. Like kind of it just seemed like things were just in disarray to me.
Everything that I've seen last year, it's just been disorganized. I don't think they really had a true game plan whenever it came to, game time. I think we fell behind in the quarterback room. We weren't utilizing what we had. I know there was like a trade agreement whenever we picked up. Am I drawing?
Russell Wilson or Fields?
Fields, yeah. I don't know why I was drawing on his name. That he had a 52% snap share. So I don't think we utilized that properly. I feel like we could have used him more throughout the regular season instead of burning that through the preseason.
I think some of that was upper management too.
So
I think that's what they wanted. I think they wanted to see Wilson on the field. I think they were hoping to draw fans that way.
Yeah, I most likely was a cash grab in that sense. But they didn't perform how we needed them to when it came down to it.
Yeah.
It became pretty obvious whenever Fields was on the fucking field, he was going to run. Like, every single time he was on the field, he just ran off to the right side. Like, how obvious is that? You're not going to fucking get anywhere. Yeah, they did make it somewhere a few times, but it didn't work. And then having Wilson, I said it last time, that fucking run where he scrambled and had that wide open field to the right and just decided to run straight at the fucking defenseman.
Well, there was their way of running the offense and running their offensive plays started to look repetitious. And when you start to do that, because regardless of whatever it is, teams are going to pick up on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that too adds to the tension and pressure, within the offense and coordinators and so on and so forth. So it was to me, it just seemed like everything on both sides of the ball was a slight bit disarray. Like someone else was pulling the strings, and it almost seemed like it wasn't the coaches, calling the shots. It seemed like somebody else was pulling the strings, and the coaches were like, "Well, here, you want this? You want this? Here's what you're gonna get." And I'm hoping, like, if that's it, I know but if that's the case, since then they go, "Well, you know what? Let us do what we do, so we can get back to winning football."
All right. They have the weapons. They just need to utilize them correctly. I feel like they were definitely higher than a B- grade in the draft. Very strong defensive players, very strong offensive players.
From what I was reading, Maynard's why we got a B-. Is debating on if we get Rodgers or not. If we get Rodgers, that's why they gave us a B- was because of the suppose that we were going to get Rodgers.
Oh, that's stupid.
Regardless, I mean, it seemed like all the teams initially, particularly the first round, seemed like the first round, the teams went with what they absolutely needed.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't care about, what the media thought, or what the media
stars were.
What the media predicted as the stars, and they went with what the scouts were showing them, telling them, or whatever, and that was nice. It's kind of refreshing.
What round was it that Howard went? Sixth?
Will Hard, I think it was fifth
or sixth. But
yeah, it was fifth or sixth.
He was a sixth round.
Okay.
To talk differences between Will Howard and Shedeur, because the Steelers went and interviewed both of them. Now, the difference between Will Howard and Shedeur is that Will Howard, the day before that, he told me this whenever I talked to him on the phone, is that he was outside in the parking lot just throwing with people out in the parking lot. He was still putting in them reps, even whenever he's in a hotel fucking parking lot.
Loved it, loves what he does.
Yeah.
Loves what he does. Loves the game.
Shedeur didn't do a single ounce of training.
Shedeur loves the spotlight.
Yeah.
So how much on that draft room did they get used?
Oh yeah, he bought a draft room and.
Did you ever see his draft room?
Shedeur?
Yeah.
Yeah, he bought it. Yeah, he buys a draft room so it could be a spectacle. It could be in a spotlight. And that's what happens, man.
Yeah. That was his draft room that didn't even get used.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see.
Because here's the picture of it. So he would have been sitting on that couch whenever they announced it.
Mm-hmm.
He would have confetti and all that stuff falling.
Yeah, he was so excited that he was going to go in the first round, but because of his ego and his cockiness and his thirst for the spotlight, teams didn't want someone like that. They wanted someone that was a bit more disciplined.
And
right now, how much you spent on that room? Spent $1 million on that room.
Oh, and then after he gets picked in the 6th round, or was it 6th? fifth, whichever fucking round.
It was around that way.
He quoted that Tom Brady wasn't first overall or first round pick.
Brady wasn't a first rounder.
Well, Tom Brady didn't make a spectacle of himself either.
Yeah,
Tom Brady came in and just put the work in. You know,
exactly like Will Howard.
and that's a bad comparison from then till now. Really, I mean, yes, he was Tom Brady 6th-round pick and he ends up being the GOAT. You know, that's not going to happen all the time.
No.
It's just not.
Just because you ended up in this.
That's just not going to happen.
I mean,
Um,
Will Howard ended up going out there, and I seen this video. It was on TikTok, but it was a voiceover of Will Howard saying, I'm going to go out there and show all those teams that passed over me what they missed out on. Because what they didn't realize is what they missed out on is a champion.
yeah, I mean,
He is a champion. So,
he's a champion that he puts the work in, and he was where the hell was he at before? And he put whatever university he was at before he transferred to Ohio State, and I don't recall off the top of my head. Too many teams are floating to my head. But anyway, he put the work in, and you could see it. They would show highlights of him. I'm sure he's had some. Every quarterback has good and bad games, but he just looked to be a person that is there to, be a strong leader, a strong teammate, for that particular team, and be a champion.
okay, so Kansas State. He was at Kansas State 2020 to 2023,
Thank you.
and then Ohio State 2020.
And put up fair, strong numbers.
Absolutely.
And he led teams. He led his teams. He was a leader, and that's what the Steelers saw. That's why I said that's why there's that small comparison with him and Bank, is those guys just led their teams.
A message has been received.
And they didn't want someone like Shador to try and lead their team. They wanted an actual performer, leader, teammate, whatever, however you want to label Will Howard, but that's what they saw.
So we've touched a lot of base on how we think the Steelers have benefited throughout this draft, and
Sorry.
how their team is how their players are going to do within the team. Touched a little base on the Giants and the Browns. Titans, I mean, picking up Cam Ward in the first round. Hopefully they can benefit from that, but it's always a hit or miss whenever it comes to rookie quarterbacks. Like we said, we don't know, are they going to start him? Is he going to come out there and show up? So, I mean, we can say the same thing about Will Howard, Shador Sanders, Jackson Dart. Like, we don't know.
Right. You don't know. Same thing. There was high praise for Zach Wilson. There was high praise for Josh Rosen. I mean, there's high praise for Luck, or you just don't know. And
I won't forget all the hype for Kenny Pickett.
All that hype for Kenny Pickett too. Oh yeah, no, dude. Don't lie, you burgers. You there's everyone cheered when we grabbed Kenny Pickett.
I was one of those people was not. I'm not gonna lie.
What's that?
I was not hyped for Kenny Pickett. I was like, that's all this hype's gonna fucking keel over real fast.
Well,
I've seen a lot of hype for video games. I know how hype trains are. If I see too much hype for one thing, I know it's too good to be true.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of hype for Shador Sanders, and look at that.
Exactly. There's a lot of media coverage on too on his heavy enough first overall pick.
Yeah, what about Travis Hunter? I'm just looking at this, how the Browns traded and the Jaguars went after Travis Hunter, and a lot of those network guys were saying that Travis Hunter actually probably was the pick of the draft. Like they looked at him as the athlete of the draft, like he was going to.
I mean, being a dual threat.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously it's not going to happen.
No.
It's not. I mean, they probably will let it happen here and there, but it's not going to be in every game.
No. I mean,
it did. Dion was the same way, and it didn't happen for him. I think it lasted, if I remember correctly, like 5-6 games, and then he had to just stay with one particular position because
they'll probably figure it out in the preseason. But it could be a case to where, like, you know, maybe one of their CBs gets hurt and he goes in and fills in until, you know,
right.
furthermore. But
right. I mean, it's nice to have for sure. Mm-hmm. I just don't think he's going to be that dual threat for the whole entire season. I just don't see that happening.
My hope, honestly, was that the Patriots were going to get Travis Hunter. So we're skipping over third round. We already talked about edge. Abdul Carter with the Giants.
Right.
So
yeah.
Going to the fourth round. OT Will Campbell. So they chose an offensive tackle instead of picking up a wide receiver for Derek May. Now I know further in the draft they did grab a wide receiver.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I can look. They went with the. Well, how about we protect our quarterback?
Yeah.
And keep him, upright in the pocket, and which will allow him to, get to the ball to the people we have, as opposed to being flat on his back. And that's, you can't fault any kind of organization for that.
No.
That's what we did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We went out, that's what we did last year. We went out and, we tried to beef up our offensive line, and it glad to say it was very much improved last year comparative to the year before. So I mean, that's a smart move. I think it's always a smart move.
It is understandable, wanting to protect your QB. But like I said, my hope was that maybe Travis Hunter would have fell down to the fourth pick. I mean,
why? So your fantasy would look good?
No.
Okay. Okay. You don't get much fantasy points from the offensive tackle, but if he keeps that quarterback upright, you're gonna do pretty
well. No, last year in fantasy, I had Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. So I had the top two. Top 5 quarterback. But going down past the Browns, who ended up switching between the Jags, going from 2nd to 5th. We got the Raiders with the 6th pick, taking Ashton Genty. How do you think he's going to fare with the Raiders?
Depends on. He's a really good running back. He's a very good running back.
Yeah. All right, I'll do that. You guys take over.
He's a really good running back I believe on a so Raiders team and it almost reminds me of what kind of went down the road with Saquon Barkley going on the Giants, and that kind of goes for a lot of various kind of running backs that end up on just mediocre teams. It's always a flip of the coin or crapshoot whether he's going to light it up or he's going to struggle because of the offensive line they have. Oh, that's funny.
You want some cake, Aaron?
I hear a little bit. Cake is good. Cake is fun. Yeah, I mean, Raiders with Geno Smith, which, is kind of an improvement. They have offensive line that, I don't know. probably just mediocre. So he may be helpful, coming out of the backfield more than running the ball, but I guess that remains to be seen. Again, the Jets going after an offensive tackle, Membo. I don't think you can go wrong with taking offensive linemen that are going to help improve your team, particularly a tackle. But it is the Jets, and they're kind of falling in the same line as the Browns, I guess, in a sense. And then again, so you go with the Carolina Panthers picking up McMillan, the wide receiver, and a lot of the network guys kind of did not have a lot of. They thought that was probably just not a very smart pickup in the first round with the 10th pick. Well, I'm sorry, what pick was that? 8th. I'm sorry, the 8th pick for the Panthers to get McMillan as a wide receiver. He looked like he was going to, vastly improve the Panthers' offense from my point of view. But like I said, a lot of those network experts are, they gave like the Panthers like a C or a C minus grade as far as for their draft for this year. I mean, take.
Sorry, I was trying to make this smaller so that I can see.
I'll
Okay.
show you something.
Sorry.
See how small I made.
Yeah, I mean, the Panthers. I mean, they have Bryce Young, Andy Dalton, and Jake Plummer as their quarterbacks.
I broke it.
Oh, broke. I don't know where we're at now. Where do we stand now? We're lost. I just dropped my. I don't know how you do.
Jesus.
I don't know how you get.
There we go.
There we were.
Okay. Sorry.
That's all right. No.
Technical difficulty.
Right, we had a little bit of technical difficulty. I don't know if we're gonna take.
So you were just talking about the 8th pick?
Yeah, McMillan that went to the Panthers. And they don't have much there. So there were a lot of network guys. I was saying there were a lot of network guys that were. They gave the Panthers like a C minus or something like that for their grade, for their draft grade. I thought it was a fair pickup. I thought it was a smart pickup. I think they need someone like him in their wide receiver core. I mean, my God, they got fucking old ass Adam Thielen there.
Yeah.
They have, like I was just saying, they have Andy Dalton and Jake Plummer and Billy Bob Yip as their quarterback room. So
Jesus.
I think it was. I think it was the Bears that also found a way to improve via draft and off season. The Bears picked up a handful of linemen to help improve their offensive line. They drafted a couple linemen. They drafted Colson Loveland, the tight end. Drafted a defensive tackle. So I thought the Bears did pretty well too.
Yeah. They had a lot of picks.
Yeah.
So figured they would do a decent pickup. Saints, they had the highest percentage of taking Shador Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we heard they got an offensive tackle, Calvin Banks Jr., I was just like, whoa. Yeah.
I think at that point it was. I think the whispers, going around was, hey, maybe Shador isn't going to be picked in this first round because a lot of teams there after the Saints, other than us, there was a lot of teams that just didn't need Shador Sanders.
Yeah.
And I think there may have been some people who were like, oh, the Saints didn't take him, so, oh boy, maybe he actually will fall, and we'll grab him.
And then we go and we pass on him.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised to see us actually take Will Howard.
Yeah, I mean, I totally thought
That was one that like surprised me.
Since Shador was available, I thought we were going to take him.
And that's what I was like, oh, maybe we'll take him, but nope. We passed over him and we took Howard. Wait, no complaints from me.
I mean, let's see, where am I trying to go here? Okay, 21st pick, Steelers. What are your thoughts on Derek Harmon?
I haven't really heard much of him until now.
Derek Harmon is going to learn from one of the better defensive tackles. Not the best, but one of the better defensive tackles, that the league has. So, that's gonna speak volumes considering we still have Keanu Benton.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Harmon and Benton, and they're two young guys. Hayward can still make an impact, but probably doesn't have to. Doesn't have to be in there as often. You can,
Yeah.
And that'll be nice. So, and he looked like a beast. He looked like he was going to, be one of those guys that can walk up that middle and create some havoc in the middle, give some push up in that middle, which will be nice.
Oh yeah.
That'll be real nice. So yeah, I think between him and Keanu Benton, that'll be real nice. In that middle lineup.
Yeah. Okay. Well, since you don't know much about Derek Harmon until he was brought up in the draft,
That was going to sound like there was only a few that were drafted.
Jack Sawyer, which I figured you would know a bit about. What are your thoughts on him being on the Steelers?
I'm just surprised you drafted anybody from Buckeyes. I'm always saying, like, if we draft the Buckeye, I'm surprised. I'm just constantly surprised.
How do you think he's going to benefit from, or how do you think the Steelers are going to benefit from having Jack Sawyer? I mean, watching him play personally, he's another monster. Like,
I could definitely see us benefiting a good bit from him.
And when I see him, I see a TJ Watt.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because if you can insert him, into a lineup with TJ and Herbig and Patrick Queen,
make it deadly.
So that begs the question: where does Patrick Wilson, Peyton Wilson, the other linebacker, fit in? Where's he fit in? Does he fit in? Is he just that guy that you insert in every once in a while? Does Sawyer take the outside along with Watt and Herbig goes in the middle somewhere? The nice thing is there's those possibilities.
Yeah.
There's all those options, and so that's nice. That's a nice problem to have. As far as that's concerned.
I definitely feel like the Steelers did benefit from this draft. Like their defense is like, yeah, we have a bit of weakness in our CBs, but or we could have possibly looked at a CB in this draft.
Maybe, just maybe, having Slay in that room might be able to talk a little, give a little bit of pointers, talk a little sense into JPJ. Maybe it'll just kind of snap him out of his little. JPJ entered a little world where his head was too big for his shoulders, I thought.
Yeah.
You know, he did fantastically his first year. You know, he went up against a lot of big name receivers and held his own fairly well. I think he let that get to his head, like, you know, hey, I'm going to be unstoppable, instead of just, you know, in the sense of, okay, let me get back in and let me work myself into where I was at that point in time again. You know, instead of, oh, I got this. This is nothing for me. And
Yeah.
it turned out to be something.
Well, I mean, there was also, you know, we had Joey Porter, and having JPJ come in, you know, Joey Porter Jr.
Right.
I feel like, yeah, he did great his first year, and honestly, I think it was just kind of luck. I mean, he was cocky. He had a little bit of an ego just because his dad was with him before that. So he felt like no matter what, he was where he was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think with guys like JPJ and George Pickens, I think the Steelers are like, you know what? We don't need people. We need people to come in here with you know, it's nice to have some guys come in with some confidence, but we don't need anybody coming in here with cockiness.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have that confidence.
Yeah.
It's nice to carry that around just a bit, but, you know, leave the cockiness at home.
I think after his first year, it went from confidence to cockiness.
Yeah.
Because he did well in the first year, and he, you know, got a little full of himself.
Oh, exactly.
And then kind of just.
And
he's still good.
He is. No, he is still good.
But
he just has to get back to being confident and not
He
cocky.
just needs to get back to the right mindset.
Right.
Sure. Yeah, and hopefully Slay does that for him.
Absolutely. I mean,
Hopefully
having
Slay does
them
it.
together, it's gonna.
Yeah, hopefully that helps. You know, just kind of ground. You know, JPJ a little bit into, hey, this is what you. If you want to be, you know, great, this is what you got. You know, you just have to start here and then work your way up.
Right.
You know, you're not gonna start off here.
You're not gonna start at the top and stay at the top. You're gonna work from the bottom and work your way up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way everything that you do along the way is going to help you stay here and not let you fall down.
Absolutely.
So hopefully that transcends to that. I would like to see that. And having Fitzpatrick and Deshaun Elliott, yeah, that's a great safety core right there.
Fitzpatrick himself.
So one thing the Steelers have.
I do like Deshaun Elliott.
Yeah.
That's a guy who just comes and just puts in the work. He just works. He just stays where he stays. He
see altogether, like we're talking individual like positions on who our top people are in those positions. Overall, I think the Steelers are looking great.
Better than last year, I think.
Yeah, better than last year.
Improved, and that's promising. But I'm
not saying they're perfect.
Sure,
but they are looking good.
Yeah.
Still need a little bit on the offense, but besides that, defense is still.
We just need to put it all together and make a fucking team.
Mm-hmm.
Like
they can get back to a championship caliber team.
Yeah,
like they have been.
They all just got to be on the same.
And they got to know that they have to put the work in. It's just not gonna get handed to them. Just not.
Yeah. We got more angry Tomlin.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a really angry Tomlin in a while.
Since we had the Triple Bs.
Right.
We had angry Tomlin for a season with the Triple Bs.
Yeah.
And he was super angry at one specifically, and it was fucking Bell. You want to know why? Because the man couldn't hold on to the fucking ball whenever we got him.
Yeah.
He started making, Tomlin started making Bell pay him every time he fumbled the ball.
Gosh, man. Just.
How about another player we had a bunch of like.
Bell was great.
Bell was good.
Bell
was very good, but again, he got cocky. He lost confidence. Same with Brown. They both just kind of went into But Brown would have been in. Dude, I'm telling you, he probably really could have been a fucking goat of wide receivers. He was that fucking talented. He really was.
I mean, it just sucks that, we had Ward and he wasn't cocky whatsoever. Hines Ward.
Yeah. No,
it wasn't cocky whatsoever.
No, he was confident in his abilities. And whatever it is, it's sometimes the guys are like, whatever it is you need me to do. If I'm just catching one ball tonight, then I'm catching one ball tonight.
Right.
But if I do everything else right, in order for us to leave that field with a W, then so be it. But if I got to do 10 catches tonight, then that's what I'll do. That's the way Ward was. He just went and did because he knew at the end of it all, just that W means so much.
He wasn't coming out here and being like, I expect that I have 15 catches tonight.
Right.
I want 15 catches. I don't want anything less. He wasn't like that. He was like,
hey, okay. You want me to knock him off our ground the block? I can do that.
Here we go.
You want me to catch this, 5-yard auto? Okay. I'll do that. No
if
problem.
I don't get anything in a game, so be it.
But, I want to get that W. That's all I care about.
So as much as I'd hate to say it, it's mostly it's the new classes. It's the new generation of players.
Sure.
Nothing but cockiness.
That 2019 team that we had, where we went 11-0 for the fucking season, and then it just all went downhill.
All went downhill.
And it made everyone cocky.
Yeah.
And especially Juju and Claypool.
Fucking Juju.
And I mean, I hate to say it, but it's true. Fucking all they cared about was
both of those guys, Juju and Claypool, especially Claypool. Those guys are just insignificant now.
Yeah,
they have been insignificant.
Where the fuck is Claypool?
Bagging groceries.
I mean,
or some shit.
Juju, he's on Kansas City.
Delivering mail. Who fucking knows?
Yeah,
what I mean. And yeah, Juju might be on Kansas City roster, but he's still insignificant.
Yeah,
he really is, and that's same thing with Brown and Bell. They once they wanted to go in the direction that they wanted to go with, and so be it. Then we get to this point here now. We have Pickens and DK, and what are the odds of Pickens doing the same thing as trying to eliminate his cockiness and just doing?
Well, I thought whenever we got Pickens, he was going to be another Claypool. I really thought it because, same age, close to the same age. And, they had everything going for them. Like they were doing really well. I thought that they were going to get, or he was going to get cocky like Claypool. There have been times where he was a little cocky because, he can just jump for the fucking ball and come down with it. But that he just needs to realize that those are his strengths and his weapons, and don't make a big ordeal about it whenever you're super successful with those weapons. Because once you start being like, oh yeah, I can just jump, I don't care, I'll come down with it every single fucking time. Then you think every single fucking time you're going to come down with it, and then you fuck up, and then now you're like, oh no.
Right.
Oh, I fucked up.
Right.
Type shit.
Yeah.
So, hopefully he does get or keep that confidence and not get cocky.
I hope.
Because now that there's DK out there,
yeah, the balls are gonna be shared between both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Before, obviously that Pickens was the probably primary target, more than most.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's going to be shared. Now, we all know that DK is going to be your primary receiver.
Yeah.
And how Pickens is going to handle that is that's what's going to be interesting. And if he was smart about it and just said, okay, this guy's here, instead of competing with him.
Work.
Work with him. Let's make this, one of the most spectacular years that we can have, regardless of who reaches the end zone more than the other. Let's get to the end zone. Whoever it is, let's get to the end zone. Let's get some points on the board.
Yeah.
Let's get some W's and let's get this thing going.
Kind of like if you scored a touchdown, we scored a touchdown. Like
kind of thing. Yeah, sort of. Okay, yeah. Right. You got the score. We got some points. And let's go back out there and do this shit again, no matter who catches it. So we'll see. Depending on who throws the ball.
Yeah. That's gonna be the biggest thing is who throws. But we'll find out after camp and preseason. So, what team you think benefited the most in the draft? Not saying by like how many picks they had or what their grade is. Fuck their grade. We're doing our own grade now. Like who do you think? You can either base it off of the first round or you can base it off of the whole draft. I
can't really complain about as much as I want. I'm going to say the Steelers part of Odyssey, but as much as I want them to draft another way, the way they drafted still is perfectly fine. I feel like it still benefits them enough to where hopefully this season we do see maybe a Super Bowl game. Maybe not a win, but maybe the game itself.
I'm hoping for at least a fucking conference. Fuck the wild card. Get past the wild card game. We've been a wild card team for how long? That's what I'm hoping for.
At this point.
I'm expecting wild card every year.
I would like to see them atop of our division first and foremost. I'd like to see that, start first.
Yeah.
I like to see them start stomping on, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Baltimore like they used to.
Yeah. The team that I think kind of benefited is up there with the Steelers. I do think they benefited pretty well in this draft. We've kind of covered that a lot due to the fact that we are Steelers fans, or just biasy. But I would say the Giants definitely benefited. Now, will they be able to do anything with it? They're the fucking Giants. I have no idea.
Yeah, right.
Right. They had Saquon Barkley, and they couldn't really do shit with him. And then you go and you give him to the Eagles, and bam, he's one of the greatest fucking running backs. So
he was already a very, very good running back. He was just on a very, very crappy New York Giants team, and he goes to the Eagles, and they're doing everything well and right, and correct. So
that's what I'm saying. The Giants got.
He was able to showcase and display, who and what he was. He couldn't do that much with the Giants. I don't think.
Well, that's where I'm getting to with Cam Scatterville. Is that the Giants going to pick him up, and I see Cam as another Saquon. He's a very powerful runner. So I feel like the Giants are going to let down another possible top running back.
I see where you're going with that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
because they got Tyrone Tracy, Devin Singletary, and Cam.
Mm-hmm.
So unless Cam has an incredible camp, and stomps the hell out of the other two guys, he may very well end up just being on the sideline and only going out for special teams, and that would just be horrible.
It is a possibility. A lot of rookies don't start their first year, so once the tenure people start getting tired out, then that's whenever the rookies come in.
Mm-hmm.
So. Another team that kind of caught my eye was the Browns. I don't really think
the Browns are terrifying me every year. Because every year it seems like they're getting slightly and slightly better, even though it used to be the absolute shitters of the entire league.
I think they are bringing it back piece by piece, like you said. Do I think they have it? Probably not. Yeah, you may have picked up Sanders, you may have picked up Dylan, but you know, are they? You don't know if they're going to be good.
And so is that enough?
Yeah, right. Is it enough?
I mean, I will say one thing: if the Browns ever do make it to the Super Bowl, it is definitely one hell of a dad joke for a game.
Yeah. I say it every time I go to the bathroom.
So I won't forget the first time my dad hit me with that shit, and I was so confused. I was like, I thought the Browns were bad.
I mean, they have fair intentions on, you know, they get Pickett and Flacco, and then they go and draft. You know, I was, you know, excuse me. I just find it hard to believe that even doing that, because it remains to be seen. That's a tough one. I don't know if they improved. I think they wanted to. I think in their mind they were heading that way, but I just don't. I don't see it specifically that they, you know, improved like the Giants improved.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way I look at it. The Seahawks, I thought, improved pretty well this year too.
The Bengals weren't bad from what I've seen.
See, the Bengals have always been, well, not always, but have been a little scary with having Jamar Chase and T. Higgins with Joe Burrow.
So the only thing they need really for Joe is to actually give him time.
Yeah, if he had time, he'd be very fucking scary.
Well, yeah, I mean that almost can be said with any quarterback. You give quarterbacks, but a better quarterback, a Joe Burrow kind of quarterback, you gotta give him a little bit of time. You know, and sure he'll, you know, kind of, sort of. But yeah, I mean they picked. I mean the Bengals get edge guy Shamar Stewart, linebacker Demetrius Knight Jr.
They drafted two linebackers.
Couple offensive linemen, Jalen Rivers and Dylan Fairchild, and you know what I mean? It's like what? But they did pick up some on JP Ryan, so I mean that's always
Yeah.
But yeah, they still have pretty much the same team as they did last year. Really.
Yeah, I wasn't really too amazed by the Bengals, but they did fairly well last season, especially whenever it came to division.
Oh yeah.
The only thing that Bengals didn't do well was Joe's fucking hair, dyeing his hair for the first part of the season.
Yeah. So
the other thing they didn't do well at is beating the fucking Ravens.
But they did. I'm sorry. So what I forgot about was the Commanders went ahead and they picked up Debo Samuel. So they got Debo and Terry. They also grabbed Nate Herbig, the offensive lineman for Pittsburgh. So that's always great. They signed a pretty decent tackle. Drafted a right tackle. Got a receiver in Jalen Lane. And then they signed some guys for defense that looks like they're just trying to find a way to improve their defense a bit so they can get a little bit further in playoffs. And so that'll be nice to see, I think. So we got Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler, Zach Ertz. So I think they also improved fairly well.
They improved decently. I mean, but once again, we don't know, is there going to be that sophomore curse with Jaden Daniels?
Right. That remains to be seen. Maybe he overcomes that, and more power to him. But it has happened. It happens quite often, and that's what we have to wait and see, because there's been a lot of, quite a handful of quarterbacks that were discussed and talked about rather frequently during the draft over the past few years that just crapped a pot, really. And so now you're not sure what you're getting exactly sometimes with some of these quarterbacks, particularly when they're talked about so much, like Cam Ward.
Right.
There are some guys that just weren't. He was rated very highly on a lot of guys' mock drafts, but there were still some experts that just didn't have him as the absolute best. But I guess for the Titans, they were just like, hey, got to get somebody, and
right.
He's got a lot of good skill set, but
just want to touch on this real quick. The final two picks of the first round, the Eagles and the Chiefs. The Eagles traded with the Chiefs to switch from the 32nd pick to the 31st pick, just to move up one spot. That was shocking. I thought in the last few picks that the Eagles were going to try to trade again or some shit like that, or even try to, trade in the following round. But they ended up getting linebacker Jahad Campbell, and then Kansas ended up taking offensive tackle Josh Simmons. So we touched base on this during the draft, and we're just like, okay, maybe it was just a case of they thought that Kansas was going to go for Jahad Campbell. They felt like they had to trade that last pick to get
just to hope to kind of sort of get him.
Yeah.
Usually steal the snap pick.
Meanwhile, the Chiefs are like, oh, well, we're just going to take this tackle, just so we can find someone to help protect.
Honestly, the Eagles and the Chiefs, they didn't really.
No, usually you get to the 31st and 32nd pick.
Yeah.
No matter whatever round it is, you're not, unless you're like the Eagles, and that's what surprised me just a smidgen. But of the Eagles, the fact that they, even though I know a lot of people say that when you lose guys, you lose guys, and sometimes you go, well, he really didn't matter much anyway. But I think a couple of those guys mattered a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe not a whole lot, but a little bit. But then you still have to replace them. You have to, so they don't need much. Typically, normally your 31st and 32nd pick. Not looking for much, just some fillers, just some depth, whatever. So it's really, get to that point, you don't have much to talk about. Like, oh yeah, they got a tackle. Excellent.
Well, out of this entire draft, who do you think is going to be the biggest flop?
Impact? Oh, flop. You mean player or team? Or
either or. It's kind of
Sanders.
I'm kind of basing it off of the team.
Sanders. That's a one to math real quick.
Because, the biggest teams that do flop all the time are the Browns and the Giants.
Yeah.
So I would think one of their picks would just flop. So I think the team themselves will affect the player.
Coincidence enough, Sanders still on the Browns.
Right.
Right. I don't. Yeah, that's funny. That's interesting now when you go and have that many players in your quarterback room, because something's got to happen. Now, I don't know for sure what Deshaun Watson's story is. Is he suspended, not suspended?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where he stands, but still, when you have something's going to give, whether they look at dealing away with, Flacco or Pickett or Watson or whatever. So it remains to be seen. Is Shador actually he's going to see playing time in preseason because that's what you're going to want to do with your draft picks. What if he does just, explode with the Browns? What
if the Browns become a really top contending team because of him? Or what if they're just still the Browns?
Right. Or what if they're still just the Browns? I know. Flop. That's a good question.
I'll go over the first round picks really quick. The players that I'm looking at are like quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, players that make a bigger impact on the team, because you can't have a team without a quarterback. You can't have
Flop.
Any yards without a wide receiver or tight end. But I don't. Cam Ward.
I just still think that the Jets are just, and they went after an offensive tackle, very good offensive tackle, but what's that tackle going to be protecting really?
Right.
You can sit there and talk about, the Jets went out and got the tackle, Armand Membo. They also got a tight end, Mason Taylor. They grabbed Justin Fields, which will help.
Mm-hmm.
They also got Josh Reynolds. I don't see that being something big, but then they also grabbed Nadi or whatever from Kansas City, Andre Cisco, safety from Jacksonville, and they picked up a lot of defensive guys during the draft. So that being said, I still think that it's going to be like a neck and neck between the Jets and the Browns, if you ask me. Because every other first round pick that I could see, I really think these teams did a smart move with what they picked. They picked something that's going to help them in some form or fashion. That even with Derek Harmon, you can go down this list. Will Campbell of the Patriots, he's going to help. Help protect Drake May. Tyler Booker for the safety for the Cowboys. The Cowboys are none of us really like the Cowboys, but that was a fairly smart move on their end.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts with tight end Tyler Warren, smart move.
Mm-hmm.
Amari and Hampton going to the Chargers, smart move. So there's a lot of smart moves, and God forbid the Giants doing what they did. I sure as hell hope that they find a way climbing up to be better. So yeah, I think you're talking like the Jets and the Browns and the flops, for everything.
Team, yeah, the Jets and
right, all of the above, yeah.
As a player, being that the Browns are going to possibly be a flop, I would say Shador Sanders. But you never know. He could put up the numbers, but the team just doesn't make it anywhere.
Right.
But I feel like Ashton Genty.
Oh, you think he's going to struggle in with the Raiders?
Yeah,
it's possible. For sure, it's possible. They it's not like they really. And I'll double check. It didn't look to me like they really went and improved anything to help be successful with Genty. They drafted a couple, linemen. They got Genty. They got Geno Smith at quarterback. Raheem Mostert as another running back. Then they get Genty. And then on defense, they grabbed a Landon Roberts from Pittsburgh. Not a bad player, but he's aging. And just some other guys. They grabbed a guy from the Jets. Devin White from Houston. Jeremy Chin from Washington. And all their other crap that they have. So yeah.
I mean, I would definitely go between Ashton Genty, Cam Scatabo, and then wide receiver Amika Ibuka.
For the Buccaneers. Yeah.
Now, they do have a decent quarterback, but
Decent, yes.
you're also going up against Mike Evans and what's the guy's name?
Yeah, hold on, I'm getting there. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Trey Palmer.
Right.
They fucking grabbed Sterling Shepard from the Giants.
So
yeah, so they have. I mean, they still have the Buccaneers still have a pretty fair offensive line. They have Baker Mayfield. I'm gonna say Warfield, Baker Mayfield, and oh man, look, they even have Kyle Trask. That's awesome. And defensively, they still have a pretty fair defensive core. They picked up Hassan Reddick in the offseason. They picked up Riley Dixon from Denver.
So the Buccaneers are faring pretty decently. I mean,
sure,
but for his case,
his case, as you know, and again, they probably did that in hopes that it's like a pick of the future. They're still going to run with the other guys, but in hopes that So yeah, but yeah, that the Genty thing is interesting to me, and I think that's something we'll probably watch. I know I am.
Yeah,
keep an eye out for sure to see. And then again, he may rip it up.
I mean, he could be fucking Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, or he could be a No-Go Harris.
Right. Right.
But that all depends, does he have a decent line in front of him? Does he have a good enough block? Can they open up that lane for him? Can he recognize that lane? Can he recognize the formation that's in front of him?
Yeah, because like you said, college to NFL is a huge transition. Mm-hmm. And some players adapt very, very well, as we've all seen many times. I think Genty can. Mm-hmm. I think he has that capability. Will he be able to manage that with being on the Raiders? That remains to be seen.
Yeah.
We've seen some phenomenal. Barry Sanders didn't have much either in Detroit, but to me, he's a fucking goat.
Right. So made it work.
So maybe it will work out for him. But yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting look at that. Is he going to be a flop because he's on the Raiders? That's interesting. Man, very interesting.
Well, just one last thing before we kind of close up. Without seeing how the teams have played out so far, I know this is going to be a hard thought. Who do you think has the better chance of taking it to the Super Bowl?
Like, you want Super Bowl prediction already, or
kind of just like a thought? Like, who do you think has the stronger team to take it there? Basing off of coaching, the offense, defense.
I'm going to say, obviously, you have your norms, and if players stay healthy, you have the Eagles and KC. Yeah. But I also think the two teams that look like they're running up to overtake that is Washington and Buffalo.
Absolutely.
So Buffalo's definitely been beefing up the past couple of years.
I think, like you said, the Giants vastly improved. And I also think the Broncos look a little better.
They improved, but I don't think they have what it takes.
No, not to get to the Super Bowl, but I think it's going to be nice to watch, those kinds of teams look better, including...
Could they appear in the playoffs?
They could.
Yeah.
It's unlikely, especially with, other teams that look better, but they have improved. But yeah, I think Buffalo and Washington definitely are two teams.
Lady Sage said KC or Buffalo.
Of course,
So-
KC.
I mean, it's always up there. KC and the Eagles, especially with them being the last teams to face off in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think the road that Josh Allen has taken to get to where he's at now has just made him even stronger. Especially with losing to KC last year in the conference, and it was kind of his time to come back.
Josh Allen is definitely a player that deserves a ring.
Absolutely,
for sure. And
like I said this before, he's one of the quarterbacks that I'm going to be looking out for and watching because I can't wait to see what he does this year.
he puts so much into that team, and it's tough to watch what happens to them each and every playoff season. It really is. But he's, huh?
I said they just crumbled during the playoffs.
I don't know about crumble. I just think they are the recipient of things that have transpired for Kansas City, as we all saw. And that's the other thing too. I don't even want to touch base on that, but there's still that part of me that's. I know we watched it. We were a little bit excited to see that. There's a little bit more yellow on the field. In some bit of fairness, and sometimes I still want to come back to is as it was documented that there was some.
The one ref's daughter was paying off.
Some
The one
charcuterie going on.
That kind of makes me look back to see how would the playoffs have been if there was no
bullshit,
no cheating, no paying off. There was a total of, I think it was 16 refs, maybe more, between all the games. There was the Baltimore game, the KC and Buffalo game, that they were all under review. There was a Steelers game that was under review. So it's kind of like, how would have that differed? Do you think if those penalties weren't called, could we have had a chance? If the penalties weren't called on Buffalo, would they have had a chance?
Right.
I think so. Absolutely. In that game, I think it would have made a difference.
Yeah, there's been a lot of plays that have been controversial through through forever, to be honest with you, and I don't know how upset people will get this, but I do believe that there was one of our Super Bowls that there may have been a little bit of charcuterie going on that was in our favor.
I mean,
and it's probably really not uncommon. Really, we just don't. We've never paid close attention to it now because of social media. Like back in the day, it was what it was. You know what I mean? Where the ref saw the ball, he saw the ball.
I mean,
if it was out of bounds, he was out of bounds. There was no replay. There was
money makes people do a lot of stupid things.
No kidding, man.
So,
and regardless, I think Buffalo looks to be that they have a nice opportunity to go a lot farther than these past couple of years. So I would like to see that.
Hopefully, Josh Allen has that comeback story.
Yeah, no kidding, man. Yeah, no kidding.
I mean,
the NFL needs that. It needs it. Buffalo needs it. The NFL needs it.
That's what 2-3 years in a row now. They lost to KC.
Yeah, and he doesn't bitch, complain, moan. No. He just comes back season after season. He puts in the work and the time and the effort, and in hopes that they don't get.
Look, that anger that he has built up because he was pissed after losing to KC this year. That anger that he has, take it out onto the field and use it.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And rightfully so.
Benefits you.
I think he wasn't alone with people being upset about how that played out along with other games, but So just kind of being that it is, May the 4th, we had watched a few of the movies today. Is there any of those movies that, and I hate to say what's your favorite, but in essence, what would be like a favorite?
Favorite Star Wars movie?
Mm-hmm.
I would go anywhere between
If any.
episode 2 and episode 3. Revenge of the Sith tilting over episode 2. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how every generation looks at things differently in every kind of aspect. Like for me, it'll always be A New Hope. Only because if you don't mind the story, I do story time. So A New Hope came out. Actually, it was just Star Wars back in 1977. It was just called Star Wars. It wasn't A New Hope. It wasn't, the Skywalker saga. It was just Star Wars. And it was basically because nobody knew where it was going to go. So at some point in time, when the movie came out, my mom took I was a young kid, probably kindergarten age. So it was my mom and myself and an aunt, a couple cousins. So we went to the movie theaters. We get to the movie theaters and Star Wars comes on, and it's what I remember, and I don't remember a lot because I'm old. But what I do remember was, you're in the theater and the music hits so loud, and the Star Wars name pops up, and you're just looking at and you're like,
The atmosphere alone, just
and it's thing, and it's it's rolling up the thing, and you're trying to read it, and you can't read it because it's like, oh, it's so goddamn, it's like fast, and like I said, I'm only like kindergarten age, but anyway. But what I remember was at some point I did fall asleep during the movie. But what I can remember was the scene where C-3PO and R2-D2 ended up in Tatooine, and they split up, and R2 was making his way down, and when he had his run-in with the Jawas, and the one popped out real fast, and I remember kind of jumping in my seat because it was so,
Yeah.
and boom, when he hits R2, and I'm like not R2, like I'm all like, and at some point in time after I fell asleep, and I don't know if I woke up or if I was woken up, but it was the scene where it's the battle scene at Yavin, and it's they're all this stuff. And I'm sitting there just in amazement, and I remember the whole Han Solo coming in, and you're all clear, kid, and let's blow this thing and go home, and it fucking blows up, and you're just like. And so the movie ends, and my mom buys me a shirt that says it has Vader's face imprint. It says Vader lives. And from that point on, it was like two movies when I was growing up that my mom allowed me to stay awake for, through my school age. And one of them was Star Wars. Like no matter what, if it came on TV, she made popcorn and allowed me to stay up past my bedtime for school and stuff like that. So it was that one, for sure was one that I could say that was mine forever. And the other movie that she allowed me to stay up for that we watched always, she was right there with me for us, even when my brothers and sisters came along and it was Smokey and the Bandit. So yeah, it was crazy because it was just Star Wars and no one knew. And then like the whole thing, Vader lives, like, oh my God. And then years passed by, and I completely missed The Empire Strikes Back. So 1983 comes, and out comes Return of the Jedi. And then you now you're starting to see previews. And like, oh man, wow, that's an improvement from, what they did in 1977 now. So that was just crazy because I'd seen Return of the Jedi before I seen Empire Strikes Back. Return of the Jedi ends. I'm like, oh shit, now I gotta see what the F happened in Empire Strikes Back. But A New Hope would be one that, if I was, deserted somewhere, that's something I could watch like constantly and not bat an eye over. I would always watch that.
What about you?
Sorry, that was really lengthy.
No, you're good. You're good. Well, now the mainstream movies, Emperor Strikes Back, or episode 1. What's the actual full title? I can't fucking remember. I watched a video and it was like, this is how the Star Wars movie should have been named. And it's like the names are all switched out of place. The first one with Anakin, with baby Anakin. I finally like.
I don't know. Now I'm blanking too.
That is horrible.
It's the one with Qui-Gon.
No, I know exactly which one. Oh my
I know, because Qui-Gon's my favorite character, and I shouldn't fucking know this.
He's gonna look it up. I apologize. I drew such a blank.
Yeah, I'm like, why am I?
Phantom Menace.
Yeah, there it is. Holy crap, that was horrible. That was horrible. Oh my god, we should be ashamed of ourselves. Oh my dear God, look, he has hands in his face. Right? Oh my god. I have an excuse, I'm old. I need my back pills.
But
that's weird because that's what's weird for me because obviously I'm older than you guys and it's always generational. That's for everything, and that goes with sports. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. You know, well, obviously, I remember watching. I remember watching Pitt and Penn State in the 70s and 80s, which was a huge thing around here. And then obviously the Steelers of the 70s and like you guys now are everything's like 2000s, like Pirates and Penguins. Like I grew up watching, you know, which is funny is I started really getting into hockey the year the Calgary Flames won the Stanley Cup with Joey Mullen.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after that, Joey Mullen comes to Pittsburgh. You know, so that's when I started watching hockey, you know, starting then. And so then you know, I go through like the whole 90s period of watching, you know, everything in the 90s. Like, so now you guys are everything. So it's just weird for me because you guys could go on and talk about, you know, the players now that you know so well that I know so little. But if we were to talk anything back then, it would be reverse for you guys. It'd be different.
Yeah.
You guys just go, oh, okay, yeah, that guy. And I'm like, oh yeah, there was this guy, you know, this player, and so it's just crazy for me. You guys were all about episode 1 and 2 and 3, and I can't stand episode 1, 2, and 3.
So that's how my dad is. He understands. He gets the story, but he's like, he likes the original trilogy way more than the prequels.
A lot of people, a lot of us do in this generation, mostly because that's what was there. That's what we were able. Like now, it's different. Now we just got 1,000 different sci-fi fantasy movies that come out. But that was our sci-fi. It was either Star Wars or Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I mean, I don't want to say luckily, but you know, I was introduced to Star Wars before Star Trek.
Well, like for me, for sports, it was, you know, started really paying attention to hockey when, you know, Fleury, the kid, and, you know, Malkin, you know, first came into the picture. And then football, it was like the end of fucking Cordell Stewart. And, you know, then we have fucking the bus.
Yeah.
And then baseball, it's just been all over the place.
So the Pirates is just the Pirates.
Oh, I give a Steelers story. Actually, two small ones. When I was a kid as well, maybe this time I was 9, 10, 11, something like that. My brother and I went with my dad to Three River Stadium before they, you know, blew that up. But my dad was working security, and we were at the field before they were letting anybody in because my dad was security and had to go through their thing. My dad was like, "You guys stay right here, don't mind ours." Well, anyway, so we're standing there and watching probably about 6 or 7 guys on the field doing their thing, like warm-ups before they were going in. There was these 2 players like way out here, and all of a sudden they noticed us and they started walking over to us. And as they started getting closer, you know, I saw their numbers, and I turned to my brother, I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking Jack Ham and John Cole. walking over. I'm shitting you. I'm not shitting you, dude. Oh my god. And the fucked up part was they come over and say, "Hey guys, do you have anything for us to sign?" And we had nothing to fucking sign. Nothing. Fucking nothing. We had nothing to sign. Jack Buckingham and John Cole. It was fucking insane.
I have a
Nothing to sign.
Mean Joe Green jersey signed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
It's at my mom's house.
Yeah. Oh, I would probably say so. You don't want to bring it here. The next thing we do after that, I remember going to a game. I forget how we got like super cheap seats. I don't remember. It was me, my brother, and a buddy of ours. And it was the time when Bubby Brister was the quarterback for the Steelers, and they were looking deplorable as they did back then. And I just started shouting like something about, let Bubby run it, or just let Bubby throw it to Bubby, and starting to piss some guys off. And we had to, and I got shushed by, I got shushed by a couple people, but.
Well, what led you into sports? Now, I know hockey is still.
I was just saying hockey. I'm still technically in kindergarten level. Or as Josh would say, still in preschool.
Yeah, it's understandable. We're trying to bring you into it just so you have a better understanding. And then, like we said, baseball is kind of everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I remember Jason Bay,
Yeah.
And then, I stuck around for McCutcheon, and then there was
Jason Bay.
The fuck else? I don't know.
God.
Very, very important right now. I don't even think he's in the league anymore. But like for football, where did you start off at?
Football. Whenever I really got interested in it was, I think it was 09. Super Bowl 09 when we were down in Tampa. I can't remember what year Tampa was, but I just remember that was the one that caught me and like made me actually go, oh, this get me excited.
Okay.
I just remember, but like when I was younger beforehand, me and my grandfather and grandmother would always take me and my brothers to Super Bowl parties. I was not there for the football game. I was there to play with the other kids because fuck it.
Yeah. See, that was the thing for me is, we always had Super Bowl parties at my grandfather's. I mean, I remember the Super Bowl against the Cardinals. Fucking James Harrison picking off the ball, returning it, 99
yards.
99 yards? I thought it was 98.
99 yards he went.
And that man almost had to be carried off the field on a fucking stretcher because he couldn't fucking breathe. But it was fucking amazing. Everybody just in an uproar in my grandfather's living room. Like literally we had people in the kitchen, over off the side in the back by his desk, at the island. We had people in the living room. We had people fucking upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, here's fucking Harrison, grabs the ball, just starts fucking running. And you just start here screaming, go, 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 you're going to get it, go. And everybody just starts coming in, gathering. Mm-hmm. Literally the whole fucking family was surrounding the living room to see him score that fucking touchdown. That is my favorite moment of watching sports, was that moment for me.
Mm.
So, but that's not when I started watching the Steelers. I mean, I remember very little of Cordell Stewart. I was only fucking 3 years old whenever he left.
Oh,
so that makes you feel old, doesn't it?
Oh God.
He was on the Steelers till 2002.
Yeah.
So I was 3 years old whenever he left.
Yeah.
You were still 2.
It depends on the side of the.
Yeah, right. It depends on the side of the year. But my biggest thing was the bus.
Mm.
That was my era growing up watching the bus.
Mm.
I remember sitting in my other grandfather's living room on the floor of my Tonka truck. And they're like, the bus has arrived. I was like, oh, they're getting ready to leave.
Sounds like there's a bus coming on the field. Where?
They had to explain to me what the bus was. And I thought they were talking about the bus that was coming.
He's waiting for a Pat Bus to show up on the field to do donuts.
But then I come to find out that Jerome Bettis was nicknamed the Bus. And I was like, okay, yeah. And I've kind of just been stuck there up until 2019, and then I lost hope. But
Yeah.
but there's a new hope.
Oh, it's been a little rough. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, what I did there? You didn't catch on?
Yeah.
I said I lost hope in 2019, but there's a new hope.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, okay.
I got you. No, I'm just sorry. I was just sitting there thinking of everything that I've seen that, sports wise and watching over the years. I've always been into sports, even as a kid, and played baseball. And at that point in time, there was a lot of hope. When I was a kid, you going in the 80s and into the early 90s, and there was a little bit of excitement with the Pirates back then. There really was. Bonds and Bonilla and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of dissipated and stuff like that. But just so many games, someone was able to, blessed with watching some very, very great players back in the day and now, which is pretty cool. And being able to play the sport too.
Whenever we went to the Pirates game, we looked up at the top of the stadium because we went up to the
Rotunda.
rotunda. We've roamed around the park. We literally went right field, left field, and then we went to the rotunda. Like, we didn't stay in our seats. We were there for 3 innings and then we moved. But then we looked at the signs and we seen when the Pirates last went to
I think last time I remember the playoffs was like 2013.
the World Series.
No, it's like 79.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
And you were
That's why it was a big deal then in '79, because not only were the Pirates champions, but so were the Steelers.
Mhm.
At that point in time, and it was a thing in '09, if I'm not mistaken, when the Steelers and Penguins were both champions. If I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I think it was 09. Championships.
Oh, I just remembered the main reason why I became a Steelers fan when I was young.
The Steelers. Sorry, I don't mean to cut
Oh,
you off. 1979 against the Dallas Cowboys, and then 09 was the Cardinals. And then
Yeah, because there was the Penguins and the Red Wings in '09, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, so they won in 91, 92, 09, 16, and 17.
No, who was '09?
I'm trying to.
Oh, I got a phone in my hand. Yeah, my memory doesn't.
Yeah, it was the Red Wings.
But yeah, the thing that really made me into the Steelers fan was whenever I found out that we not only did we win the Super Bowl, but we now led the leagues in most Super Bowl wins, which now no longer is the case. But we're still one of the top leaders, but we're now tied.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still alive. Probably going to be ending here soon. We're kind of just like talking about moments that actually made us interested in sports. One, since it is May the 4th, Fork ended up asking what our favorite Star Wars movie was. And then he started talking about the generational difference, which then we led that into talking about our generational difference in sports to where, whenever I started watching football, it was at the end of Cordell Stewart. I was 3 years old, and then like my era was Jerome Bennis. And then, as you probably heard, Sage. And then Pork went and explained his, and he just like, y'all make me feel old.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're kind of just like ranting on and bickering away. And
yeah, I remember, I want to say it was when the Steelers and the Cardinals. Anyway, there was a point in time, it was cold as hell out. It was snowing. It had snowed. And we won the Super Bowl. And I remember we were at some friends of ours, and they lived on Mary Lee, which is down there by the Gecko. And I remember running outside and going all the way down to 51. I ripped my shirt off, and I'm just like this. Cars are coming past. Fucking truck rolled past. He slowed down. I can see him doing this, and I'm like, yeah. Fucking man boobs everywhere. I remember that. That was so much. It's so good. It's so much excitement. Even when your team is doing really well, it is hurtful when they maybe not go too far. But there's always that excitement because you can always look forward to things. And as far as we're talking about the Steelers, it's been a little while since we've been able to look forward to anything. So hopefully this is that year that we can look forward to some things. But yeah.
I mean, honestly, I slightly felt that way whenever the Eagles beat Kansas City, but it wasn't for that reason. It was because they beat Kansas City.
I think a lot of people throughout this country was a little bit happy to see.
Literally every other fan of every other sports team was rooting for the Eagles.
Only just to beat KC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only place that was rooting for KC was Kansas City themselves.
And LA.
And LA.
Come on, Taylor Swift, sir. That's the Chiefs mascot.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, that is the one and only time that we're going to cheer for Philadelphia ever. So savor that flavor because the damn sure ain't happening again in this household.
Once it's another KC versus Eagles.
No, sir. That was hard. That was a tough pill to swallow. But
I might root for them again.
Well, listen, I'll tell you what I don't see it now because you live through life and you have, but I remember the one thing that was nice growing up was sports did bring family together. There's a cousin on my dad's side that he was a Penn State fan. We were Pitt fans, and every time Pitt played Penn State, we were getting together. And, being cousins, you talk a small little amount of smack, but there was always togetherness. There was family, there was food, there was laughter. Same with every other sport. Everyone was getting together, and that's what is nice with sports.
I mean, come on. Whenever we had the Super Bowl party here,
yeah, we were all together here.
Sage and Amber fucking walked up in here with KC shirts and jerseys on. Okay.
Yes, and being older, I respect people that want to be fans. I understood being a sports fan, and I let things go that evening in a lot of ways. So, but it's nice. It's nice to be together, and there's no. It's just nice. Sports brings people together. That's what's so nice. It's so awesome, and hopefully that happens this year with the Steelers or whoever. It won't happen with the Pirates. I don't think that may not happen
We
ever.
might not see that for another 100 years.
We may never. It may happen in 2099. Who knows?
I'll be fucking 100 years old by then.
I'll be 6 feet under.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, it's nice. It's always a nice feeling.
Maybe Dakota and I can enjoy a Pirates winning the World Series.
Maybe.
Or maybe, our grandkids. Maybe our great grandchildren. Who knows? At the rate we're going, I mean, I have some hope. It's just we definitely need to get something fixed.
I know you probably want to end things soon, and this may be a little late. I was thinking about this earlier, but it almost is going to look as if there might be some, and you can talk about this in your next podcast, maybe a topic, but where do the Penguins go from here? Because guess what? Pretty soon, now that Marc-Andre Fleury's retired, there's going to be a couple other guys that are on that Pittsburgh team that are going to end up in retirement.
What I forgot to talk about with hockey was Mike Sullivan.
Oh,
Yep.
well,
That's bad. It was bad to even name it.
that happens now. It happens. Jobs aren't secure.
He's now the coach of the Rangers.
Well, good luck with that, pal. You're in New York.
So
They're unmerciful there in New York.
But I mean, when it comes down to it, what are we going to do whenever
Sid's getting old.
Yeah,
Sid's no longer a kid.
Again, while we're on there, congrats to Fleury. Thank you, Fleury. Thank you, Flower, for being a part of Pittsburgh. Enjoy your retirement. You deserve it all, buddy. Just want to get that out there. Great goaltender, netminder, guy, player, person, place, thing. I just say nouns. Just name some nouns.
And on the side note, Rogers, you need to fucking retire. That's not a suggestion. That's a you need to.
He could probably get away with just putting on a Minnesota Viking jersey and just going to Minnesota and just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he has the
They'll probably just let him in.
Yeah. Hey guys, can I throw the first ball? Can you do the first pitch for football? Can I do the kickoff?
Jesus.
Yeah, can I do the coin toss? Yeah, that's another interesting. That's interesting to see that too, where that may or may not lead between Rodgers and Cousins and stuff. But anyway, it's almost time. It's almost my bed. Actually, it's past my bedtime. My old ass got to get to bed.
That's my bedtime. Well, thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
We do appreciate it. We love talking with you all in chat. If you did miss out or if you just came in, this will be posted on YouTube right after this. If you are watching this on YouTube, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, follow or subscribe, put the notifications on. Don't quite know when we'll be live again, but links are in bio for TikTok, Twitter, X, and Discord. You can always hop in our Discord. We do post any and every update that we get. We post that in chat. Today was just a little bit different. Normally we will talk about like F1 and other subjects that happen throughout the sports world. But not really much going on right now other than baseball. The draft is over. We have the Stanley Cup playoffs, but for us, the Pens are out, but we will keep y'all updated. Yes, we are ending.
Yeah, we're wrapping up.
So I've been slacking on my F1 news.
So if you haven't already, drop a follow, subscribe, hit the notifications, give us a like. So are we was gonna raid you? I mean, you can still raid us if you want. Sorry for those on YouTube, my chat is not up on the screen, so you won't be seeing what's going on in chat. But I have my other podcast that we didn't do today. We ended up doing this sports one. We're both live at the same time. We kind of split it up 2 and 2. But if you haven't checked them out, go ahead and check them out. It's Anime Madness PC. We're live every Sunday, or at least we try to be. There has been a few little mix-ups here and there for the past month or so. But we will be getting back into that. They were live tonight. They have a TikTok, Discord on their channel, so go ahead and check them out. Their link is also in my bio as well. You guys have anything else to say?
Fuck Rogers.
Oh, what happened?
Fuck Rod.
What year is it?
29.9. The Pirates still have one.
29.9. The Pirates are still losing.
Me too.
Oh boy. Uh-oh, it's gonna be a lightsaber battle. Lightsaber duel. Lightsaber duel.
Duel of Fates. You shut it off. You're dead.
Oh, that was quick. All right, good night, y'all.
I didn't know lightsaber had a push button.